I want to talk about this brilliant political theorist by the name of Owen Benjamin. Owen Benjamin is, he considers himself a comedian, and this is the type of comedy you can expect to find from his account on a regular basis. Let's see, let's check it out.
Reporting live from the Zaporozhye power plant here in Ukraine, where the Russians are planning something. I saw a guy named Ivan. Oh my God! They're setting fire to the nuclear power plant! Oh, this is happening! Russia did that! It's not us at all! Send us money! Fight our, you gotta go, you gotta give us money right now. It's Russia! It's Chernobyl! It's Fukushima times 1,000! Everyone's screaming! Oh, everyone's from Russia! I see little dolls and vodka. Oh no! It's Ivan from that Rocky just got beat up by Ivan. This is carnage. Everyone's melting. Don't leave your house, everyone. We're at Zaporozhye power plant here in Russia. This is like Hiroshima all over here. Ah, this is horrifying. There's no way that's us. We did not do that. It's the entire country of Russia. Oh no! Whoa! Oh!
Anyway, this is the type of content he produces. This is the type of jokes he tells. I guess the joke is we're gonna be the ones to blow it up, and it's all fake or whatever. Anyway, putting that aside, this is the type of commentary you can expect from Owen Benjamin. But he gave some really beautiful commentary recently. He really opened my eyes. You know, maybe that instance of him acting like he was remedial in some way was just an outlier, you know? And I wanted to dig a little deeper into the brilliance of comedian Owen Benjamin. And so he made a few posts about nuclear weapons. And usually when I see posts about nuclear weapons, as of recent, it is a lot of people saying the end is nigh, you know, we're all gonna die. But he has a different interpretation of nuclear weapons. Here's what he has to say about nuclear weapons. It's weird that the nuclear blasts vaporized brick houses. You can check out the video, by the way. This is a video from a nuclear test. God, that's horrifying. Jesus Christ. Okay, yeah. Nuclear war, very scary. But he sees this video, and he takes a different interpretation. Because the interpretation I come from that is, that's scary, right? But he says this instead. It's weird that the nuclear blasts vaporized brick houses, but not the old-timey camera recording it. It's because nukes are fake. Hiroshima and Nagasaki never had any fallout radiation. The whole narrative and all the evidence is absurd. Okay, first off, woo! Oh, sorry, I'm just a little overwhelmed. That's such a relief. That is such a relief. Well, we need troops on the ground for Ukraine then. If that's the... Man, thank you. This makes my job a lot easier. My God. But before we jump to any conclusions and wipe away the nuclear annihilation of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, it might make sense to scroll a little bit down further and look at the addendums that have been put on his post by the glorious feature of added context on Twitter. The only good thing about Elon's reign on Twitter.com. So, first he said, why is the camera recording it? How are all these houses getting destroyed, but the camera can still work? It's because nukes are fake. Not a lot of evidence to prove nukes are fake. Could have probably went out and Googled it himself, but he didn't. Anyway, read added context immediately explains this by saying, the cameras were in bunkers 5 miles away from ground zero with telescopic lenses, allowing for the camera to record the nuclear explosion. Hiroshima and Nagasaki have no fallout radiation today, as the atomic bombs were detonated at an altitude of 600 m, which I assume means meters. Now, this didn't stop Owen Benjamin. Owen Benjamin is a confident little fella. He's very confident. When he meets a brick wall, he'd rather slam his skull into it over and over and over and over again than simply move around it and just be like, give up. I'm not going to try to walk through this wall. So he keeps going, though. You know, no corrections and things like, you know, the camera was far away. No. That's not going to stop him. He has an addendum that he's added in the comments just to save time for responses. And oh my God, look at all these things. Number 1, the camera isn't super far away. It gets engulfed in a dust cloud. One shot, it's in the house. Okay, so we already watched the video. But them zooming in on the house does not mean that the dust couldn't engulf the house so that all you see is dust. That doesn't prove that it's far away. I mean, that it's close up. That it could still be far away using a telescopic lens. And as for the one shot he's talking about of it being in the house, let's go look at that shot. Here's the shot. Oh, and then 1 second. There it is. Here it is. Then it's over. It's like for half of a second. It didn't even show anything. It just like in complete dust and nothing else. There could have been a camera in there, then it gets destroyed. It's not a long sustaining shot. His complaint was, wow, all these cameras don't get destroyed. That was his complaint. And the one camera, which he is identifying as being, he knows for sure, close, seemingly can't do a long shot as if it was destroyed. Now, we could go Google this and find out the specifics anyway, but he has so many other points that we gotta address the rest of the points. He has so many other great points to prove nukes aren't real. Number 2, the camera is not protected in a super duper bunker. Anything that vaporizes brick would vaporize anything you could see through. Also, wait, what does that mean? Anything that would vaporize brick would vaporize anything you can see through. Wait, so you couldn't just be at a distance with a what does that mean? Just because it vaporizes the brick very close to the explosion does not mean you couldn't survive miles away from the explosion. Also, the camera literally shakes in some blasts. Even if you had a camera 5 miles away from a nuke, and I'm saying this as somebody who has been in an area that's been bombed by just conventional warheads, it can shake the ground. And if we're talking about a nuclear explosion, yeah, it might shake the ground 5 miles away. Number 3, you're looking at miniatures. These aren't actual buildings blowing up. They are models. Wait, so they're miniatures. They're not full buildings. Does he have any evidence of that? Oh, no, he doesn't address it. He just keeps going. Number 4, there is no fallout in Hiroshima, Nagasaki, or in any of the 40th states that there were test sites. I guess he didn't respond to the added context. Number 5. Hiroshima and Nagasaki weren't in the top 10 destroyed cities of Japan, and the cities were never dead zones. They were never evacuated. Number 6, eyewitnesses working on, I'm just going to stop, respond to everything. There's so many points. Eyewitnesses working on the Manhattan Project, like head or GM Galen Windsor, stated that the explosions during the tests were massive amounts of TNT. Number 7, yes, the whole world can be in on it ever since the creation of the United Nations. So every single nation, with no dissent, all of them, from North Korea to the United States, have all agreed on one thing, and that's to lie to the world and simultaneously fake nuclear tests, fake the seismic tremors that happen after these nuclear tests, trick the scientists into it, or make the scientists jump on board. It's all a conspiracy from every element of society to trick you into believing the nuclear weapons are real. That's much more likely than they're just real. In his worldview, from this video. Okay, got you. Whatever. There are no nuclear bombs with fallout or radiation. There are health effects from uranium-tipped ballistics that can damage thyroids when someone is in a lot of contact with them. That's it. You were tricked. Hiding under your desks was an MK Ultra control program. Man, that's awesome. Stop being afraid. It's fake. Let's see what else he has to say. Because let me just say, he got a lot of backlash for this, mostly because it's really fucking stupid. But he did not back down. He kept going like a warrior. My town has 3 nuclear power plants, and I used to do a podcast at Caltech with the nuclear physicist. Oh, okay. Well, this seems like the person we should be listening to on this. He did a podcast. I'm no expert, but apparently I know vastly more than most people about nuclear power. If you believe nukes exist, you now know more about nukes than Owen Benjamin. Just saying. It's actually very simple. Uranium isotope rods are very hot and stay hot. They boil water. The steam turns turbines and makes electricity. Nuclear waste is just hot rods that stay hot for a long time. It's thermal radiation. And our plants on Lake Ontario, because they would use that water to cool the rods and send the water back into the lake. The pollution was just the temperature of the water. I would pay Owen Benjamin $10,000 and give him bragging rights for the rest of his life if he agrees to camp for 1 month in the Red Forest here in Ukraine. I don't think it would be, I think the government authorities would maybe want to stop him from killing himself, but if he can sneak past them and do it, I will give him that money for 1 month in the Red Forest. I'd be happy to. The pollution was just the temperature of the water. A nuclear bomb is absurd. When people say, so let me guess, nuclear power plants are fake? No, they just boil water. Why would they lie? Because nuclear power is very, very cheap and would destabilize the oil industry. Our dollar is supported by oil. It's the petrodollar. So spells and propaganda were used. Spells? You mean that literally? So spells and propaganda were used to demonize any alternatives to oil. It's extremely simple to understand. Yeah, it's much more simple than believing nukes are real, is to believe that instead, every single government and all of their scientists and all of the institutions, the IAEA, everyone is in on a plot to trick the world about the efficiency of nuclear power by making up this story about nukes so they can save the profits of the oil and gas industry, including countries which don't have large oil and gas reserves. They have decided to sign on to it for who knows what reasons. But also, on top of that, these countries will still make their own nuclear power plants as well. If the whole point is to discredit nuclear power plants, why would they still build nuclear power plants? Okay, let's read the corrections though, because other people put a lot more effort in responding to this than I did, because this is ridiculous nonsense. Number 1, uranium rods are not hot by nature. Rather, a neutron source is used to initiate the chain reaction, which creates heat. Number 2, nuclear bombs also use a chain reaction, just at a very rapid rate, which causes an explosion. Number 3, nuclear waste is radioactive, which makes it dangerous. And lastly, I want to show Owen Benjamin's response to everybody calling him a moron for acting like a moron. And here's what he had to say. So this tweet is now at 5.6 million views, and I've never had more hate from a tweet in my life. If you look at the claims of the community notes, they're absurd. A zoom-in lens in the 1940s with film camera zoomed in 5 miles from a periscope, many people added, to get a shot inside a house, or these highly detailed outdoor shots in slow motion of a nuclear bomb. So the reason there isn't currently fallout is because the bomb was dropped so high in air. This is the thing. What I love about this theory is what he's saying, and you hear this about the same people who doubt that the moon landing happened. The same people who say that was fake. He is saying that, wow, it's crazy that the zoom-in lens could get so close at such a long distance in the 1940s. But he is perfectly willing to believe that it was possible to fake the nuclear tremors and to get both the Soviet Union and the United States and all the nation states in the world in the 1940s to agree to lie about the existence of nuclear bombs, as well as creating extremely realistic footage of these explosions and tests, and tricking scientists with, I guess, artificial tremors after the tests. And they got all those Japanese people to lie too. And all of that, like, skin peeling and damage to the bodies of those who experienced radiation poisoning in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I guess those people just had fantastic, like, you know, artists, body art artists. Like, they had, like, the body art of a modern Twitch streamer. They had the fantastic artistic skills. That's much more easy to believe than they had a zoom-in lens in the 1940s. So that means there wasn't any fallout when it happened, because the height hasn't changed. So there are the points that make me the dumbest person alive that should kill himself. I don't remember. Okay, I didn't see any posts telling him he should kill himself. I'm sure there's some people on the internet telling him to kill himself because it's the internet. I don't know why he's particularly concentrating on that, because the majority of people are not telling him to kill himself. They're just calling him the dumbest person alive. That they are calling him consistently. So you can't see why a person with 16 years of experience in the TV and film industry may question the 5-mile zoom from a periscope for an indoor shot in a house narrative. By the way, it's not I'm asking questions. The guy isn't asking questions. The guy is making an assertion. And I hate this, because people who quote-unquote ask questions do this all the time, where they won't have any evidence for their claims. They won't have to, gather sources or go out there and, like, back up their affirmative claim, right? Or back up their claim. They simply get to stand at a distance, poke holes, and not have to back up their own theory, but with a layman's understanding of the topic, read and misinterpret the scientific research and work in the field to try to discredit it and say it was all fake because you yourself can't understand it. I don't know, man. This feels like a lot like just the best representation of Dunning-Kruger somebody could possibly craft in their head. It's really fascinating, people's reactions. I think it's because they need the nuke narrative to continue with the lie that man can destroy creation. Oh, is this like so is this a religious thing? That the reason nukes can't be real because that would mean that we could be as powerful as gods? And Jesus, there's no way we could be as powerful as Jesus? Is that the idea? Human beings have a very good propensity to kill each other, even if you don't believe in nukes. There's so many other weapons that can wipe city off the face of the earth. For example, in World War II, during Japan, the Japanese firebombing that Curtis LeMay directed, that the American Air Force engaged in Japan, killed much more civilians than Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And I doubt this person's bringing that into question. Is that not also the power of gods to take 1,000 metal birds, fly them to a place halfway across the world, and wipe cities off the face of the earth, and burn hundreds of thousands to death? In challenging of the Japanese God King, the Sun Emperor? I don't know. I don't know if this really keeps this narrative safe, even if you believe nukes are fake. Anyway, he's very, very not happy about the response he's gotten for being called dumb, for saying a bunch of dumb things on the internet. Owen Benjamin is a very, very silly person, but, life would be very boring if we didn't have silly people like this. But we can have fun with people like this as long as no one takes anything they say terribly seriously. Okay? What a weird guy. What a weirdo. Hate to be the bearer of bad news, but the dude's a little bit of a weirdo. A little bit of a weird guy. Okay, one second. It's very hard to close these tabs while also not being able to see your mouse. It is not easy. Not easy. But this footage is fake too, by the way. This is footage of a nuclear test in the USSR. They must have planned to do this with the American regime as well. Wait, my mouse is back. I can see my mouse now. Fantastic. I'm sorry. So, to be clear, Soviet filmographers could fake this in the 60s. They could fake this. This was easily within their purview of control and editing and filmography. but a zoom in lens is impossible.